Hey everybody, Mrs. K here with another art lesson. So for today, you're going to need a piece of paper and we're going to fold it into thirds. So you know how to fold a piece of paper in half. We can do it long ways, we can do it short ways, but to fold it in thirds, we're going to hold it like this, or like this, I guess. And you're going to kind of see if you can get this amount of space to match the amount of space that you have folded. We're going to make sure our lines are straight, and then I like to pinch and then slide to double check. The next one's easy. We're going to take this, slide it in the crease, make sure the line's lined up, and then pinch to close. Mine was pretty close to a third. I only have like a little bit left, and that's totally fine. All right, so now we have a paper that's split into 3 almost even parts. Okay, so I'm going to take my paper or pencil, and I'm just going to kind of mark where those lines are, just to give me a better idea. Okay, so what we're going to do today is talk about value. So value in art class does not mean how much something is worth. It means lights and darks. And so what we're going to make are value scales, because there's different ways that we can use value in art class. Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle that's really long. It takes up almost the whole space. And then I'm going to draw 2 more that are the same size. 1 in each little folded part. All right, this rectangle, we're going to split in 5s. So I'm going to kind of draw 2 lines for where the middle is, and then 1 in the middle of each other one. Okay, and same with the other ones. You can kind of follow those lines down and split these in 5s too. Okay, so we're going to talk about 3 different ways that you can add value to an artwork. The first way is going to be called, oh, I guess I shouldn't have done that on the bottom, but we'll get to that. The first one is going to be called hatching. Hatching. Okay, we're going to go from light to dark. So I'm going to write it here. Light, arrow, dark. So we're going to go light to dark on our hatching. Okay, hatching is like little diagonal lines. So here, I'm going to make them super light. And you can leave some space between them. And you can also press really light with your pencil to achieve the light box here. The next step is going to get a little bit darker. So you can press a little bit harder and add a little less space between each of your lines. We're still using diagonals. They still should go the same direction. You just want this box to be slightly darker than this box, and it is. The next box is going to be like a medium color. So you can press medium hardness with your pencil. It should be slightly darker than this one. You can go through and do multiple layers. Okay, so now you start to see our value scale. We have a light, medium, and a darker color. We're going to press even harder and then as hard as possible here. Okay, and now really, really hard. It's okay to go outside of the box a little bit. The box is just there to help you. Okay, so you should see it go from light to dark. This is what's called a value scale. And the type of mark that we made with our pencil was called hatching. The next one that we're going to do is called cross hatching. cross hatching. And the same thing, we're going to go light to dark. So I'm going to write it again, just so I remember. Light to dark. Okay. So here, cross hatching is really similar to hatching. It's just that we're going to do 2 sets of diagonal lines. Okay. So instead of just lines going this way, we have lines that also go the other way on top of them. So you have really light marks here, going in one direction. Then take your pencil and put it in the opposite diagonal direction. It is not, let me get a scrap piece of paper that I'm going to throw away. It is not tic-tac-toe. That is not what we're doing. Okay? The lines do not go straight up and down and then straight across. These lines are going to go at an angle, and they should almost look like X's. We are not making X's all over our paper. We're doing lines in one direction throughout the box, and then putting lines on top of them, going the other way. All right, so this is our lightest box. We're going to make them a little bit darker. So I'm pressing a little bit harder with my pencil. Make the lines a little bit closer together so I can just go over that box again. And then make lines come the other way. So it should be slightly darker. This is our medium. It should look kind of close to this. Pressing a little bit harder, leaving a little less space between. Coming the opposite way. Okay, it's slightly darker. We're going to press hard here. And notice I pick up my pencil each time. I don't just scribble one way and then scribble the other way, even though it looks kind of messy. And then we're going to press super hard here. Lines should be very close together. And you just keep going over and over again until you get as dark as you want it. All right, the last thing that we're going to do is called a gradient. Gradient. Gradient is kind of like a fade. So with our pencil, you can just shade it back and forth. I'm going to hold like the back of my pencil here by the eraser. If it had an eraser, it doesn't. And I'm just going to move my pencil back and forth. You can even go this way too if you want to. It doesn't really matter here. And I have just like a whisper of color. I'm going to move my fingers a little bit closer and press a little bit harder. So you can tell I did one layer, I pressed light, and I'm going back up and over it again, just to make it a little bit darker, filling in any of those little gaps. Okay, so it's slightly darker. We're going to press a little bit harder, so I'm going to scooch my hand up again. That allows me to press a little bit harder without much more effort on my part, because I have more control over the pencil. And the more that you go over it and over it and over it, that's how you can get it darker and darker and darker very subtly. That's what we're going for, subtle. Okay. I'm going to move my hand up again. Press harder. Okay, and once again, I'm just going to scooch my hand up and press really hard. Okay. Sometimes you might see value scales without the little boxes. It might just fade from dark to light. That's okay too. That's also a value scale. These are just 3 different ways, and the boxes kind of help you split up the pressure that you're going to have on the pencil. So again, we have hatching. They just go in one diagonal direction. Cross hatching, they go in both directions. And gradient, it just fades from light to dark. Okay, guys, have fun. See you next time.